Howdy folks, my name's Saoirse. Welcome to the Fox Den. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Welcome to Whiteman Airport, just north of Burbank, California, on a gorgeous day for flying, and that is what we are going to do today. As you can see, we are here in the Cessna 172. This is the S model. It's a late model, so it's probably mid-2000s, maybe a little bit later or so. So it's going to be a newer airplane. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. Now, the Cessna 172 is one of the most popular general aviation aircraft in the world. Over 40,000 of these things have been made over the course of its production life. If you know a pilot of any kind, they've logged time in this airplane. Now, I've loved the Microsoft Flight Sim series since I was a kid. I've been around aviation my entire life. I just recently got my pilot's license, and so this has always held a very special place in my heart. And I wasn't too terribly sure how I was going to film this video, but we're just going to go for a flight around the Los Angeles area, see the sights, kind of just tool around a little bit, have a little bit of fun, and we'll see what happens after that. So we're going to go and get started here. I'm going to try to do things by the book. I've got my checklist here with me. I got all the radio frequencies there, so we're going to try to do it by the book and see if we can make it a little bit more realistic, shall we? So I will see you guys here in just a minute in the cockpit. And here we are in the pilot's seat. Now, like I said, I do have a checklist for this, so we're going to run through the checklist to get this thing started. We're going to do it by the book, so if you have a checklist at home, feel free to follow along. Without further ado, here we go. So the very first thing that we're going to do before anything else is make sure that our parking brake is set. I'm going to take this yoke away so I can see it. It's right here. Parking brake is set. The weight and balance has been done on this airplane, so we don't have to worry about that too much. There is no control wheel lock. We've already taken that off. The ignition switch is off, as you can see down here. The avionics are turned off. These two switches here are turned off. We're now going to turn the master switches on. We're going to check our fuel quantity indicators, which are these instruments on the left side right over here. Right there. As you can see, we've got fuel indicated in there. We're now going to turn the avionics switch on. Now, in the real aircraft, we'd be listening for the cooling fans to spool up on these things, but they haven't modeled it in this game, so we're going to just do it so we can follow the checklist here. We'll come up here. We're going to go ahead and test our lights, and they're working, looking good so far. Take a look down here. Fuel selector valve is both. We're going to turn our fuel on. Flaps are going to come down. We're going to turn our pitot heat on. We would typically get out of the airplane and go check to make sure the pitot tubes are heated up properly. Turn that off. Master switch is coming off. Avionics master switch is coming off. And now at this point we would get out of the airplane and we would do our pre-flight. Okay, so we would have gone through our entire exterior pre-flight check. We are now ready to actually get the engines started. So pre-flight inspection is done. I would do a passenger briefing in this case, but technically I don't have a passenger. It's just you guys along for the ride. So I'm not really going to do a full one, but typically I would tell a passenger to keep their eyes open, looking for other traffic for me. There's a fire extinguisher between us if we need to use it. We're going to use it and open the doors or open the windows for ventilation. Airsick bags, if we need them, are somewhere in there. How to operate the radios, basic stuff like that, just to keep them engaged. Brakes, we're going to go ahead and test and set our brakes, which we've already set the brakes, so we're good. Circuit breakers are all in. Avionics master switch is currently off. Fuel selector is both, as you can see down here. The fuel knob, which is this right here underneath the mic cord, that's in, so fuel is on. And mixture is idle cutoff. We are ready to start. Master switch coming on. Rotating beacon is on. This lets people know that the engine is about to start. Fuel pump switch is coming on. We're looking for fuel pressure, which we have some. Once we get full rich right here, looking for fuel pressure, which we're good. Fuel pump's coming off. And now we are going to go ahead and get that engine started. So our key is right here. We're going to turn this to the start position. Clear prop. And then once she's running, we're going to be watching our oil pressure, which is coming up. That's climbing. Come down here, turn our avionics back on. We're going to pull our flaps up. Just like that. Transponder coming on to altitude reporting. We are all set and ready to contact the tower. So I'm going to go ahead and get in touch with the ATIS. We're going to listen to the ATIS and we're going to figure out what the weather's looking like for us today.
Whiteman Airport information, Whiskey 2300 Zulu. 1258 at tree. Visibility, niner. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 1 tree. Altimeter 29.902. Visual runway tree 0 in use. Landing and departing runway tree 0. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Whiskey.
Alright, so we have our ATIS. We are information Whiskey today. I'm just going to roll my this back to the ground frequency. We're going to change it over to ground, and we're going to go ahead and get in touch with Whiteman Ground.
Whiteman Ground, Cessna 89878 is at Vista Aviation. Taxi to runway 30, departure to the west with Whiskey.
Cessna November 89878 taxi to and hold short of runway 30 using taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 135.0 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short, runway 30 via taxiway Alpha, Cessna 878.
Alright, so we've got our taxi clearance. We're going to go ahead and get the parking brake off. We're going to go ahead and get this thing underway. Don't mind that tug, it doesn't technically exist.
Cessna 878 hold position caution, other traffic. Cessna 878, continue taxi.
Continue taxi, Cessna 878.
It is an absolutely gorgeous day for flying this evening. I certainly hope that the weather will still continue cooperating in the sim. I think that Microsoft and the developers on this have done a fantastic job. They've knocked it completely out of the ballpark with this with this iteration of the game, and I'm so happy to see it. Alright, so now we are holding short. We're going to go ahead and put our parking brake on. I'm going to double check, make sure my altimeter is set, and it is. So before we contact the tower, we're going to go ahead and run through our before takeoff checklist and do our quick run-up. Alright. Seats and belts are secure, cabin doors are closed and locked. Instruments are checked and set, fuel quantity is checked and looking good, mixture is full rich. Fuel selector valve is still both, flaps are still up, we're going to take off without flaps today. We're going to advance our throttle to 1800 RPM. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's going to be close. We're going to check our magnetos. We're looking for a 150 RPM drop. Let me try that one more time. 150 RPM drop when we flip from both. So it's left. There it is. Back to both. Back to right. So 150 RPM drop from both. No more than 50 RPM difference between them. Looking good there. Vacuum gauge looks good. Annunciator paddle is set. We're going to go ahead and pull our throttle all the way out smoothly to absolute idle. Make sure the engine stays running. And she does, and we're going to come back up to about 800 RPM for our idle. Just to keep things running smooth. Avionics are good, electrics look good. We're going to go ahead and turn our lights on. Since it's getting to be close to nighttime, we'll be just as safe as we can be. Strobe light on. Set our elevator trim now for takeoff, a little bit nose high. So now we can reach out to the tower and get ready to get out of here. Tower for Whiteman is 135.0. We're going to push this button to flip the radios. Now we're going to go ahead and give them a call.
Whiteman Tower, Cessna 89878 at runway 30, ready to go for west departure.
Cessna November 89er 878 altimeter 29er.9er 2 wind 25 phase entry. Departure to the west approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 30.
Cleared for takeoff runway 30, departure to the west is approved. Cessna 878.
Take the parking brake off. We're going to go ahead and enter the runway and get out of here. Oh, I overshot the center line a bit. Come back around to the right a shade. That's what I get for not watching. Once we're lined up and ready, lights, camera, action. Here we go. Airspeed's alive. There's 40. There's 50. Rotate at 55. We're going to climb out at about 70 knots.
Cessna 878 continue for west departure.
Continue for west departure, Cessna 878.
Traffic pattern altitude at Whiteman is about 2,000 feet, so we're going to get up to within 200 of pattern altitude and then start turning to the west. So right about there. Well, just a little bit south of west, about 240, because we want to start heading toward the ocean. Just let her climb on out.
Cessna 878 leaving my airspace, frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved for Cessna 878. Good day.
Alright, so now that we're over this way, we're going to want to contact the Van Nuys Tower. We should have done it a while ago, but we'll go and do it now because we're crossing over their airfield. And we want to let them know we're going to be there. So give me just a minute and I'm going to reach out to them.
Van Nuys Tower, Cessna 89878 is type Skyhawk. 2 miles north of the airport at 3,200 feet. Requesting class Delta transition.
Cessna November 89878 transition approved. Report clear of Van Nuys Tower airspace. Maintain on navigation.
Transition approved for Cessna 878. We'll report clear of airspace.
And now we're just going to go ahead and cruise for a little while. We'll be turning to the south here shortly because we want to kind of go through the Hollywood Pass down towards Santa Monica. And we'll head on down the coast and see what kind of trouble we get into. What a gorgeous day it is today. Look at that. Look how pretty it is out there today. A little bit bumpy, but it's not too bad. Not too bad. And straight ahead there, you can see the Pacific Ocean. We're flying over what Malibu is going to be over here to my right a little bit down there. Watch out for that glare a little bit. Back over this way, you're going to be Pepperdine University and the lovely beaches. And then right there, just to the left of the center, is going to be Santa Monica. And we're going to go ahead and start turning back that way so we can keep with the coast, start heading back towards Hollywood.
Santa Monica Tower, Cessna 89878 is type Skyhawk. 5 miles northwest of the airport, 3,200 feet, requesting class Delta transition towards Hollywood.
Cessna November 89878 transition approved. Report clear of Santa Monica Tower airspace. Maintain
Transition approved for Cessna 878. Will report clear of airspace.
So welcome back, everybody. I certainly hope that things have been going great on your end. I've been having a wonderful time with all this, and I don't know how much traction I'm going to get, but I'm enjoying it anyway, so I think that's really what matters, don't you think? I wanted to mention that, as I said before, I've been around aviation my entire life. And getting my pilot's license was probably the greatest thing to ever happen to me. It was just a wonderful experience, and I'm glad I had a chance to do it. Stuff like this has always been in my blood, and this is probably the single most important thing to me aside from my family. So I'm happy I have a chance to do it, and I'm really happy you guys are along for the ride, at least today. So let's keep on flying, and we'll see what's around us. Now, we are underneath the Class Bravo airspace at LA. It's at 5,000 feet, so it's above us. We want to try to stay underneath it because we don't really want to get up there and play around with the big boys. So we'll just kind of stay down here with the rest of the bug smashers and keep to ourselves.
Santa Monica Tower, Cessna 878 is clear of your airspace.
Cessna 878 Santa Monica Tower frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved for Cessna 878. Good day.
We're going to swing this thing over to the right a little bit, point it towards downtown LA, but we're going to stay on this side of it because we don't want to get into the Class Bravo. Got some traffic there about 12 o'clock, as you can see. Looks like it's he's on departure out of LA, so we're going to try to stay out of his way as best we can. You can see out there, there's the Griffith Observatory and Los Feliz, all right there at the foot of the mountain, and Hollywood just underneath this wing strut. Welcome to Hollywood. Is it everything you would have imagined? How you guys doing back there? You good? Alright, so we're starting to get close to downtown LA. We don't want to cross over the top of it because that's going to put us in the Class Bravo airspace. So we're going to start our turn to the north here pretty soon. Start heading back to Whiteman. going to be crossing directly over Burbank. We'll be switching over to Whiteman's Tower frequency, which we already have, and we're going to give them a call, let them know that we're on the way.
Whiteman Tower, Cessna 89878 is type Skyhawk, 6 miles south of the airport, 3,200 inbound to land with Whiskey, runway 30.
Cessna November 89878 Whiteman Tower. Altimeter 29.9er, 2 wind 25, avid tree. Fly straight in runway 30. Cessna 878 wind 25, avid tree. Cleared to land runway 30.
Fly straight in, runway 30, cleared to land, Cessna 878.
Alright, so we are quite high for this particular approach because we had to fly over Burbank, so we're going to go ahead and start descending a little bit. We're going to do a 360 at the end of the runway to bleed off a little more altitude, and then we'll take it on in. We'll give it 1 notch of flaps.
Whiteman Tower, Cessna 878 is going to do a right 360 to bleed off some altitude. And we rolled out just a little bit high, but we're still in better shape. So we're going to go ahead and give it 1 more notch of flaps, a little more power. We're going to sidestep to get back to the runway. Just ignore the poppy that's there. That's actually doesn't exist at the Whiteman Airport. She's ballooning a little bit. Let me get some trim in there. Get the nose down a shade. Full flaps. And bring her on in. A little fast. The tree that I'm flying over doesn't actually exist at the airport, so we kind of got to adjust what I'm normally used to seeing. Stretch it out. We don't want to land short of the arrows. Come off the power, nose up a little. And we're down.
Cessna 878 exit runway with able. Cessna 878 contact ground on 125.0.
125.0 for Cessna 878.
Pull our flaps up. And let me get in touch with the ground controllers.
Whiteman ground, Cessna 89878 is clear of the active taxi to Vista Aviation.
Cessna November 89878 taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha.
Taxi to Vista Aviation via taxiway Alpha, Cessna 878.
As you can see, we made it. Welcome back to Whiteman. We're gonna go ahead and take this thing and park it where we found it, and we'll shut her on down. Look left, right, it's looking good. I don't know what's going on with that Beechcraft's props there, but the system is working hard, I see. Whoa, hey! I should probably pay attention and fly the airplane until you stop. I've actually had examiners fail prospective students for that. Okay, we're gonna set our parking brake. And now let's go ahead and get out the shutdown checklist. Now we're going to run through the shutdown checklist. This one's an easy one. We're going to make sure our electrics are off. Avionics master switch is coming off. We'll reach over here and turn off our transponder. Mixture is idle cutoff. Ignition switch is coming off. Master switch is off. And we're here. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining me on this flight today. I very much enjoy sharing my passion with you guys, and this right here is absolutely my top tier, most highest, whatever adjective you want to use, passion. I love aviation, I love flying, and something like this, I never dreamed I'd be able to do it in real life. And I never dreamed that I'd be sharing it with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you would like to see more Microsoft Flight Sim content, please do let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what I do. Be sure to check out my other videos on my channel. And as always, I'm Saoirse the Vixen. Make sure that you keep the rubber side down.